All right. Welcome to the Cont3xt demo. I'm going to demo a few features that we've implemented and will be released with Arkime version 5. We have the main contributor to these changes here, Toby Selesky. He helped with a lot of this. In fact, he should probably be doing this demo because he knows way more in depth about this. So if you have anything to say, Toby, just let me know and I will add it. So the big change we have implemented, or Toby has implemented, is bulk search. So now you don't have to just search for one indicator at a time and open a million tabs. You can search in the search bar for comma or space separated list of indicators. In that same effort, we've laid out the main page. So before, you were going to see your indicator results tree on the left on top of your link group. So you'd have to scroll down to view your link groups. Now we've put our link groups on the far right side. We've made the indicator results tree, which is where you see your top level results, much smaller. And then we've tried to increase the size of the indicator card detail because that's where you're going to see most of your data. We've also allowed for collapsing of the link groups as well once you do a search. Now I'm going to go ahead and issue a search for multiple indicators. We're searching for some domains and an IP here. This is so fast because I already cached the results for these just about a half an hour ago. But if this was the first time searching for this, it would take quite a bit longer to get these results. On the left-hand side, you'll see the list of all your top-level indicators. If you click into them, it will highlight the ones, highlight the one that you are looking at, and then it will show you the information in your detail here. Another change that we've implemented is default card information here. So when you open, for instance, an IP, you are going to see the default information for that iType for IPs. So this is the default IP overview card. You can configure this on the settings page. Cont3xt comes pre-baked with a default for each iType, and then you can configure more of these cards and switch between them here. So when you navigate through here, it's going to open your default card, and then you can go in to see more results by clicking on each of the integration buttons. We've also implemented a feature where we have kind of like a top level overview of the results. Because now we have this bulk search, we want to kind of summarize some of the information that we see in this left panel so that you know which places you might want to click. So for instance, here we have 6 green, 1 gray, and 1 pink indicator. Green is good, neutral is, or gray is neutral, and pink is something bad. So you could see, like, you might want to click into this one because it has some pink in it, and you can directly click on the detail from the tooltip as well. So yeah, that's the basics of kind of all of the information that we're trying to show. We're trying to get as much stuff on here as possible. Like, for instance, you see all of this information in this table, and it's kind of small, so you can collapse so you can see more information by collapsing your link groups. And next, I want to show you how you can configure your default overviews. So here is the pre-baked overviews for each iType. This just comes loaded with Cont3xt by default. And you can create a new overview here. You'll give it a name. Then you can specify the card title. This is what you'll see at the top of the card, and it fills in this with the query of the indicator. And then you can select which iType this pertains to. You can change permissions to it, and you can add fields. And this is pretty awesome. You can basically have custom fields where you create it yourself, or you can find like specific fields that are pre-filled for you, and give it a label. And you can add as many fields as you want. And then you can create it. And now I have this overview that pertains to iTypes, and I can set this as my new default. So now anytime I go to an IP, the results of an IP, this is the default information I'm going to see. I'm going to see passive total DNS results field as my data for my default card. And each user can configure these as they want to, and admins can configure all of them, including the default ones that come pre-baked. And that's pretty much it for the main bulk of the new features that we've implemented for version 5. Does anyone have any questions? Toby, is there anything that I missed that you'd like me to call out?
Maybe you could show the custom box for the overview configuration.
The raw configuration or one of the custom fields?
A custom field.
All right. So yeah, you can, it's basically like a raw JSON config for showing specific data from a specific source. So you can do this with basically any of the sources. You have to kind of understand what the data looks like. And in order to understand what the data looks like, you can come to the context page and go and look at the raw data. And this is how you would kind of parse out where that config comes from and how to reach into, for instance, the tech name. So yeah, good call out. And yes, William as well, we've implemented some keyboard navigation. I haven't used that. So here are all of the ways you can navigate with the keyboard to jump to different sections and pages, toggle caches, collapse and expand top-level indicators. I haven't actually used this yet. Toby implemented this, so I'm going to have to start using this and get used to it. Have you used it, William? Is it any good? Every day. Nice. Well, I'm sure you'll have some suggestions on how it can be improved as well. Of course you do. All right. Anyone have any questions? What about new integration, William? Oh, yes. Yes, we implemented, well, you implemented, Andy, the Elasticsearch integration. You want to say something about that?
Sure, you can now specify an Elasticsearch or OpenSearch cluster to search and how to parse the results and show them as an integration. The biggest difference between the Elasticsearch one versus the current integrations is currently it can only be configured in the config file. We don't let users add new Elasticsearch integrations just because we haven't thought through all the security implementation issues that there might be by allowing that. So a user can toggle them on and off. So Why don't you show the toggle thing? But
Mhm.
I don't think we have one in this.
No, I don't have one.
But you would see the Elasticsearch source right here. Like if it was called foobar, it would show up and you could just click it on and off. So if you as a user don't want to deal with it, you could disable it. And just like all of these other sources, you can set up a permission model where only some users can use the Elasticsearch integration. And so that would, another way, if there's like some data source that only some of your context users should have access to, you can configure it that way in the config file. But currently it has to be done by an administrator in the config file, and there's no UI to enable it. We're also thinking about adding other sources like this, like maybe a generic URL source and a Splunk, some other ones. So this way you could search all kinds of databases for results to show up in context and have it, be your aggregation. And yes, you can have more than one Elasticsearch or open source. It can search multiple different ones, and each one it searches can have different rules.
Anything else, William, or any questions from anybody? All right, I'm going to stop recording.